The captivating miniseries opens with the charming and youthful Kobayashi Haru, a woman in her late 20s, who spends her days grooming pets to perfection. In a dramatic scene, she is spotted racing through a bustling crowd, dressed in a stunning bridal gown, determined to catch her soon-to-be husband. When she finally reaches him, the moment turns sour as she discovers that her beloved has been leading a double life and has been deceiving her for over 2 long years. Shockingly, the man she was about to marry is already married with a baby on the way next month. He swiftly apologizes for his deceit and abruptly departs, leaving Haru feeling lost and heartbroken. Frustrated and unable to contain her emotions, she impulsively hurls the bouquet into the air, a symbol of her dashed hopes and shattered dreams. Fast forward 1 year, and Haru is moving on from her heartbreak. Although she's content with her life, she's cautious when it comes to love. One day, as she makes her way to work, she stops to check her phone and her face lights up with joy at the sight of her many likes on a dating app. Suddenly, she's jolted out of her happy moment when a young man named Amiyu crashes into her, guitar in tow, causing her phone to tumble to the ground. With a sense of urgency, he quickly retrieves the device and notices the dating app, leading him to offer Haru some well-intentioned advice and wishes of good fortune before he makes a swift exit. As the afternoon sun begins to fade, Sujisaki, a loyal customer at Haru's pet salon, observes her friend lost in deep contemplation and asks what's on her mind. With a heavy heart, Haru confides in her about her romantic struggles and how she's had no luck with men. Sujisaki, however, offers her some much-needed optimism, predicting that 3 potential suitors will soon come into her life. As fate would have it, later that very same day, a handsome young man named Yuno Shintaro strolls into the pet salon, accompanied by his furry 4-legged friend. Haru beams with joy as she greets the new customer, hopeful that he may be one of the men her friend Sujisaki had foretold. As the day winds down, Haru and Shintaro engage in a friendly conversation. As Shintaro leans in closer to Haru, she can't help but feel a flutter of nerves, but her worries are quickly dispelled as he gently removes some dog hair from her cheek. Just as Haru begins to feel a spark of excitement, Shintaro suddenly pulls out his phone, causing her heart to race with anticipation. To her surprise, he asks her for a simple piece of information, the salon's phone number. In the next scene, Haru and her close friend and co-worker, Yamamura Asami, unwind at a bar after a long day. As they chat, Asami can't help but gush over the bar's handsome bartender, Minami Seishi, known by his nickname Yoshi. Haru can't help but chuckle at her friend's infatuation. As fate would have it, Haru's chance encounter from earlier in the day, Yu, suddenly walks into the same bar. As Asami excitedly explains that he's the lead singer of a band called Beyond Brooklyn, she eagerly shares their music video. Yu is touched by her enthusiasm and thanks her for her support, leaving Haru intrigued by this new acquaintance. Yu recognizes Haru and greets her with a sarcastic remark about her dating app endeavors before he exits the bar. Later, Asami cautions Haru about the unfaithfulness of bartenders, band members, and beauticians due to the nature of their work. As if on cue, Yoshi makes a bold move and tries to kiss Haru, but she firmly pushes him away. Frazzled by the unexpected event, Haru returns home only to find that her apartment building has caught fire. With nowhere else to turn, she moves in with her grandmother, who introduces her to her eclectic group of tenants, including none other than Yu, the charming band singer, Shintaro, the handsome beautician, and Yoshi, the charismatic bartender. Haru is taken aback by her grandmother's sudden announcement that she's leaving for a trip with her boyfriend, leaving Haru in charge of the house and its tenants. The gravity of the situation hits her hard as she realizes that she's responsible for overseeing the various relationships that have blossomed in the building. As Haru ponders the prophetic words of her friend Sujisaki, she's interrupted by the arrival of each of the 3 men, each with their respective girlfriends in tow. She can't help but feel confused by the sudden change in circumstances. The following day, while unpacking her belongings, Shintaro offers to lend a helping hand, but all he can manage to do is utter a few cringe-worthy pickup lines before scurrying off to work, leaving Haru feeling uneasy about the situation. As Haru settles into her new role as landlady, Yu's guitar suddenly reverberates through the house, causing her to confront him about the noise. To her frustration, he simply shrugs her off, leaving her feeling powerless. As she retreats to her room, she's surprised to find Yoshi waiting for her, offering to lend a hand. However, his intentions become clear as he once again tries to make a move on her, leaving her to reject his advances. Just as she's starting to make sense of the situation, Yoshi's girlfriend calls him, causing him to quickly depart, leaving Haru feeling bewildered once again. Back at work, Haru confides in Sujisaki and Asami about her newfound living arrangements, torn between their contrasting opinions. As Haru grapples with her conflicting emotions, Sujisaki offers her a supportive ear while Asami reiterates her concerns about the men in her life. Later that evening, as Haru tries to unwind with some ice cream, she discovers a pile of unpaid bills left behind by her male tenants. Frustrated and overwhelmed, she realizes that she's the only one taking responsibility for the household and its upkeep. Fueled by anger and determination, Haru embarks on a mission to collect the overdue rent from her tenants, starting with Yoshi. But as soon as she confronts him, he quickly comes up with a flimsy excuse and exits the room. You follow suit, evading her request for payment. When Shintaro returns home, Haru greets him with a warm smile, but his response is less than enthusiastic as he claims to feel unwell. As she tries to collect the rent from him, he scurries off to his room, leaving her feeling more disheartened than ever before. Exhausted and defeated, Haru retreats to the kitchen to find solace in her beloved ice cream, only to discover that it's gone. In its place is a note left by her grandmother, advising her to label her food to prevent others from eating it. Haru is determined to protect her ice cream at all costs and buys a new one, carefully labeling it with her name. As she heads to the bathroom for a shower, she's hopeful that her plan will work, but when she returns to the kitchen, her ice cream has vanished yet again. Refusing to give up, she devises a new plan, placing pins on the floor as a deterrent for any would-be thieves. However, her efforts only lead to disaster when she accidentally steps on the pins herself. Despite her frustrations, Haru can't help but find the situation somewhat comical. Determined to get to the bottom of the ice cream mystery, Haru confronts her 3 male tenants about the theft. When they sheepishly admit to taking it, she reveals the importance of her post-bath ice cream ritual, explaining that it's a small reward for her hard work as a groomer. To her surprise, that very same evening, all 3 men leave her a container of ice cream accompanied by an apologetic note. Haru can't help but smile as she reads each note, feeling touched by their unexpected gesture of kindness. As she takes a leisurely bath, savoring the taste of the ice cream, Shintaro approaches her with an invitation to go out for a meal. As Haru and Shintaro savor a delicious bowl of ramen, a mysterious woman watches them from afar, causing Haru to feel uneasy. Back at work, Asami warns Haru to be cautious around hairdressers like Shintaro, claiming that they often use unsuspecting girls as practice models. However, Sugisaki encourages Haru to take a chance on her budding relationship with Shintaro, urging her to see where it leads. That evening, as Shintaro works on Haru's hair, Yu observes them from a distance, feeling a pang of jealousy. Despite his feelings, he silently retreats, leaving the couple to enjoy their time together. Haru's day takes a dark turn when she notices the same woman from the ramen shop lurking outside of her workplace. As the woman writes a threatening message, warning her to stay away from Shintaro, Haru begins to fear for her safety. Seeking comfort in Yu's company, she confides in him, and he explains that Shintaro's actions may have been misinterpreted by some of the girls he approached as hairdressing models. As the day wears on, the power suddenly goes out, leaving Haru feeling vulnerable and alone. When a mysterious knock sounds at the front door, she turns to Yu for support, and he stays by her side without hesitation. As they huddle together, trying to make sense of the strange events unfolding around them, Haru can't help but feel a sense of comfort and safety in Yu's presence. Eventually, the two drift off to sleep, lulled by the darkness and the sound of each other's breathing. Yoshi returns home to a scene of chaos and is quick to accuse Yu of using Haru as inspiration for a new song. Despite Yu's protests to the contrary, Yoshi remains unconvinced. Not long after, Shintaro arrives home to find Haru waiting for him, ready to confront him about his flirtatious behavior. As Haru expresses her disappointment and frustration, Shintaro begins to realize the impact of his words and actions on those around him. He takes responsibility for his behavior and offers a heartfelt apology to both Haru and the other girl he may have hurt. On the other hand, Yu seeks out Haru at her workplace and invites her to keep him company. Yoshi, watching from the sidelines, can't help but feel envious as Yu leads Haru away by the hand. They head to Serpa Hill, where Yu shows her a breathtaking view of the sea before giving her a ticket to his band's upcoming concert. Excited about the prospect of seeing Yu perform, Haru shares the news with her coworkers. However, Asami warns her about the potential dangers of getting involved with musicians, who often manipulate their female fans for financial gain. Asami continues to warn Haru about the potential dangers of getting involved with musicians and tells her that women who wear certain clothing are often labeled as groupies. Despite this, Haru brushes off her friend's concerns and heads to the concert. Once there, she notices many women dressed in revealing clothing as Asami had described. After the show, one of these women approaches Haru and boldly claims that she will be the next woman to inspire Yu's songwriting. When Haru returns home, she confronts Yu about his habit of using women for inspiration and tells him that he will never write a good song if he doesn't take women seriously. The two argue, but the following day, Yu plays her a new song and they reconcile. Later that evening, Haru sees Yoshi with a woman named Saya and it appears as though they may be kissing. This sight fills Haru with a strange sense of envy. The following day, Yoshi asks Haru to come to the bar and try a new cocktail. Excitedly, Haru agrees to go, but she tells Asami about it first. Asami warns her that bartenders are good listeners, and women use that to get what they want. She also says that bars are places where women lose both their hearts and their money. As Haru becomes more aware of Yoshi's actions, Sugisaki drops a bombshell about his past, shocking Haru. Asami then voices her suspicions that Yoshi may be unfaithful, as it is the main reason for his divorce. Haru then witnesses Yoshi leaving the house with Seiya yet again, and she confronts him about his behavior, ultimately canceling their plans. Yoshi is confused by Haru's sudden change of heart, but she rebukes him for his insensitivity towards Seiya's feelings. The following day, while Haru is working, Seiya unexpectedly shows up with her pet. As they chat, Seiya tells Haru that she's actually Yoshi's sister. To Haru's surprise, Seiya reveals that Yoshi's divorce was not due to his affairs but because his wife cheated on him. Haru feels terrible for misjudging Yoshi earlier and decides to apologize to him. When she visits Yoshi at his bar, she declines his attempt to kiss her, and he accepts it gracefully. However, Shintaro coincidentally sees them together, and he mistakenly thinks that Haru is cheating on him. In the next scene, we see the boys taking care of Haru, who's down with flu and fever. Yoshi and Shintaro prepare meals and bring her medications to ease her discomfort. Yu is clueless about what's going on and observes them from a distance. Shintaro then confesses his feelings for Haru in front of the other two and asks for their support. However, his confession only fuels their envy. As Haru slowly recovers from her fever, her three housemates, Yoshi, Yu, and Shintaro, all take turns in taking care of her, each with their own unique methods. Yu brings laxatives and pain relief patches, claiming that they're more effective than traditional medications. He even composes a melody to cheer Haru up. Yoshi takes a day off from work to look after Haru, while Shintaro does the same. However, Shintaro is troubled by what he witnessed between Haru and Yoshi the previous day and confronts him about it. Later, he tells Yu about it, who then aggressively provokes Yoshi. Yoshi is left puzzled by Yu's behavior until Shintaro suggests that Yu likes Asuru, a girl they all know. The scene then shows Asami asked Haru about her feelings, but Haru gave an ambiguous response. Later, Haru meets Yanagisawa Makoto, a stage actor who looks like her ex-boyfriend, and he offers her a flyer for a play. Initially, Haru doesn't say anything, but when she keeps staring at him, he approaches her and they exchange numbers. Haru goes on a date with Makoto despite Asami's opposition due to his resemblance to her ex-boyfriend. When she returns home, Yu and Shintaro notice her happier demeanor but can't get much information out of her. Asami tells Yoshi about Haru's date with Makoto, making him jealous. The next morning, Yu and Shintaro try to persuade Haru to stop seeing Makoto when they hear about her dating the stage actor. They claim that stage actors don't have much money and manipulate women by putting on a fake facade of sweetness and charm. Yoshi also chimes in, asking Haru if Makoto is really better than him, but she dismisses their warnings and affirms her belief in Makoto. Later that evening, an assistant to the president of a record label called Universe Music approaches Beyond Brooklyn for a music debut opportunity. Meanwhile, Makoto texts Haru to inform her that their play might be cancelled. Haru rushes to meet Makoto after he tells her that their play might be cancelled due to the lack of funds to pay for the venue. When she arrives, he reveals that they have no one to lend them money, leaving Haru no choice but to hand over a substantial amount of cash from her envelope. Makoto embraces her and proposes, but their intimate moment is disrupted by Yu, who happens to be passing by. Meanwhile, Yu promises his bandmates that he will finish writing their debut song and meets with the assistant to the president of a record label called Universe Music. The assistant tells him that the president wants to hear their debut song the next day. The next morning, Yu informs Haru that his band's debut could be finalized that day. She wishes him luck and leaves. Yu tells the other guys that he saw Haru giving money to Makoto, and Yoshi says that he saw Makoto drinking with his buddies. Shintaro and Yoshi decide to investigate Makoto, while Yu works on his music. In the upcoming part of the story, Shintaro and Yoshi find out that Makoto used the money to buy drinks instead of paying the fees for the place. Meanwhile, Yu is unsure about whether to attend the meeting with the record label or confront Makoto. Eventually, he chooses to inform the other housemates that he can't join them. While Shintaro, Yoshi, and Haru are having an argument, Makoto suddenly shows up, and someone hits him hard in the face. The story takes a dramatic turn when Yu's confrontation with Makoto spirals out of control, causing him to miss the crucial band meeting. As a result, the band breaks up. Later that night, the tension between the housemates continues to rise. Both Shintaro and Yoshi muster the courage to confess their feelings to Haru, but her response is deafening silence. The next morning, Haru's demeanor is cold and distant as she goes about her day. She ignores the others, lost in her thoughts, and rushes off to work. Shintaro breaks the silence by telling Yoshi that he had confessed his love to Haru, and Yoshi confirms that he did the same. Meanwhile, Yu's whereabouts are unknown since the band's breakup, and Haru is worried about him. She decides to go out of her way to check on him, hoping that he's okay. As Haru enters Yu's room, her heart sinks at the sight before her. The room is in disarray, with his guitar lying on the ground, and the sheet music for their new song is torn apart. She texts Yu, but there's no response from him. The situation is worrying, and Haru is unsure about what to do. Later that night, Shintaro takes a stand and speaks to Yoshi about his concerns. He wants to protect Haru and warns Yoshi not to play with her feelings. However, Yoshi assures Shintaro that he genuinely cares for Haru and wants to protect her as well. The following day, Haru decides to visit the studio where Yu's band, Beyond Brooklyn, rehearses. She meets Tetsuya, Yu's bandmate and friend, and tries to make sense of the situation. Tetsuya reveals that Yu had promised to finish their debut song and submit it to the president, but he vanished, causing the band to break up. Haru pleads with Tetsuya to forgive Yu, but he refuses and walks away. Haru begins to ponder over all the places Yu could have gone to. In a moment of clarity, Haru remembers Yu's favorite spot on the hill and rushes there to find him. Her heart sinks as she sees Yu with another woman who tries to kiss him. Though he stops her, Haru assumes the worst when the woman leans in. Later on, Shintaro shows off his hairdressing skills and offers to do Haru's hair. During this time, he asks about her confession, but Haru tells him that she only sees him as a friend and nothing more. Just then, Yoshi calls Haru to a bar and tells her that the owner has offered him the chance to run it. He then asks her to choose him among the three of them and embraces her. Unfortunately, Yu arrives at that exact moment and quickly leaves, feeling uncomfortable. Haru doesn't hesitate and follows Yu after he leaves the bar. When she catches up to him, Yu asks if she's in a relationship with Yoshi, but Haru denies it. The next day, Shintaro meets with Yu and confesses his feelings to Haru but says he doesn't regret it. Meanwhile, Haru visits Yoshi's bar, where he invites her to the grand opening. Over at the studio, Yu meets with his bandmates and apologizes for his actions before begging for another chance. Tetsuya forgives him and welcomes him back into the band, revealing that it was Haru who changed his mind. The story takes an exciting turn as Yu gives Haru a ticket to his live performance happening that evening, telling her that he will be waiting for her there. As he leaves, Yoshi enters the room and offers to make a special drink for Haru that evening. As the night goes on, Haru is torn between attending Yu's live performance and Yoshi's opening event. In the end, she chooses to go to the bar, but she feels restless there. Just as she is about to leave for Yu's performance, Yoshi asks her if she has found someone with whom she can be herself. Haru tries to respond, but before she can, Yoshi understands and encourages her to go see Yu before it's too late. Haru is taken aback when she arrives at the live venue, only to find out that Yu has booked the entire place just for her. As the performance begins, Haru is moved by the lyrics of the songs, realizing how much Yu loves her. Despite her attempts to hold back the tears, she can't help but cry. After the song ends, Yu finally asks her out. Although she likes him, she tells him that she wants to take her time to experience love from within. Feeling bad for her ambiguous response, Haru apologizes, but Yu reassures her that he will always be there to sing for her until she is certain of her feelings. The next day, Haru goes with Yu to the record label and is shocked to discover that the president of Universe Music is none other than Tsuchisaki. In a surprising turn of events, Beyond Brooklyn is signed to the record label. As her time with the three boys comes to an end, Haru receives a phone call from her grandmother, who decides to extend her vacation for another 3 months. This news surprises Haru, and she realizes that she has more time to figure out her feelings and decide what she wants for her future. The moral lesson of the story is that you should always label your ice cream to avoid any potential roommate drama. It may seem like a small thing, but it can lead to unexpected acts of kindness from your male tenants, who may end up becoming your close friends and even potential love interests. And remember, if you're feeling down, just get sick and let your male roommates take care of you. They'll go above and beyond to show you their love and affection.